welcome here to my podcast, and it's an honor to have you here.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here in front of you today.
Thank you for accepting the invitation. So, I guess let's start on why I guess I was interested in having a conversation with you. Remember when we met at the Toastmasters meeting?
Yes.
At Bull.
Yeah.
So at the end of the meeting, everybody gets a chance to talk to each other, right? And a friend of mine is like, "Hey, Rayyan has a podcast also, and it's everything about space and rockets." I'm like, "Okay, hold on."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then who is this guy, right? But then they pointed towards you, and I'm like, "Man, he's young," but I didn't know you were still in high school.
Yeah.
You're 19, but you're still in high school.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Yeah. So I moved over to the States 2020 October. That's when it all picked up. I moved to Brownsville in 2021 October, so a year after I had moved down to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I had moved down here because my dad had found an opportunity for work at the island, and he said, "Hey, let's get the family down here," right?
Yes.
So I moved down here. I started going to school here. I started going to school in person. That's where everything started to settle in for me. Started getting an idea of what the American education system's like, what school here is like. Because moving to a new country was one thing.
Yeah.
Navigating in Brownsville was a whole different task, right? Because you're by the border and you have this different dynamics that you also have to grasp at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of, okay, how do I familiarize myself with being in a different country, but being in a very specific part of the country that operates differently because it's so close to the border.
Yes.
Right?
So you said that 2020 you arrived to the U.S.
Yes.
And then 21 to Brownsville. So where were you before?
I was in Houston.
Oh, Houston.
Yes. So I lived in Houston.
Yeah. Way different than the border.
And we weren't even planning to move to Brownsville. That wasn't even a thought, right?
Yeah.
When we left Saudi Arabia coming here, it was going to be Houston, right?
Correct.
The first time I visited Brownsville was in 2017. That's when my uncle used to live at the island and was summer vacation.
So there was a little
there was a little idea
of
what Brownsville was like. And when I initially found out that my parents are telling me that we're moving to Brownsville, there was, don't get me wrong, some resentment.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'd always lived in a big city. Here we were in Houston. So it was fine because you're in a city that's a big city. It's quite diverse.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like home even when you're far away from home.
Yeah.
The idea that I had of Brownsville was completely different.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was like a small town, very deep south, like not a lot of things to do, not a lot of people that are from the same walks as life as yourself. So that's why there was like a lot of anxiety when it came to moving down here and having to change that perception that I previously had of Brownsville.
Yeah. Especially something I guess for someone that comes from a different country, the expectations of the U.S. Might be a little bit more along the city of Houston and not Brownsville, right? Yeah. But man, and I have visited, a lot of places around the U.S. and but Brownsville, it's interesting.
It's unique. It's completely unique.
And now things are getting
things are picking up now
with the expansion of SpaceX, right?
Yes.
So that probably helped out with
it definitely helped out because that was the field that I was looking to pursue right early on. I never knew it was going to be space, even though it's something that always intrigued me, but I knew it was going to be in the engineering field. Yeah. Right? Like when I was in middle school, I would do projects, I would make things, and I would just always be super invested with my dad, who also is super invested in things as such. So I knew engineering would be something that I want to pursue. You know how like kids have like, oh, I want to be a doctor when I grow up, or I want to be
But how old were you at this time? Like you're thinking of becoming an engineer? Because, well, looking back for me in my case, I mean, because I see you still as a kid, right?
Yeah,
you're 19,
of
right?
course. Yeah.
I'm 44. So I look back and I didn't have an idea what I wanted to do, but I like making stuff also. It was around maybe 10, 12 years old. That's when I'm like, okay, I might want to go in this direction. Yeah. So it wasn't something, that I was like right off the back, at 5 or 6 years old. So with you,
Yeah, no, it was around this time, I would say as well. It was everything before it that led up to me when you have kids saying, I want to be a doctor when I grow up, or I want to be a lawyer, I want to do this, I want to do that. For me, it was I want to be an engineer. I want to build things with my own hand.
Yeah.
Right. So it was just.
Were you breaking things apart around the house?
I was a very curious kid. I still am, but that curiosity now takes a different phase. But trust me, I've dabbled in,
DVRs.
Breaking things apart, and my parents being like, why did you just open this entire thing right in front of me? So I was always in that mindset when it came to things like, how does this work? Like, what's inside of it that's making it operate in this way? So it's just my upbringing, my mentality that has, put me on this track of, hey, I want to pursue engineering. I don't know in what, but I want to pursue engineering.
Okay.
Right.
And I guess just to give a little bit more context on the way that I met you, the first thing they said was like, oh, he's pursuing a career with something that has to do with rockets or rocket science, right?
Yeah.
So then when I met with you at that coffee shop, you start saying about, being curious about engineering and all that. So it made a little bit of sense.
Yes.
So right now you're telling us, right? So I started looking into maybe engineering because I would, disarm things or break things apart, curiosity and all that. But you still didn't have an idea that you wanted to do something with rockets at that point.
Not necessarily, no. They always intrigued me. Before it was rockets, it was airplanes. So I had thought I was going to do something along the lines of aeronautical engineering, right? Always with something with commercial aviation or with aeronautics. So rockets was the final form of how I perceived engineering, right? It was just playing around with stuff to knowing that, okay, I want to do engineering, to then, okay, I want to work with planes and I want to fly planes and like the aeronautics side of it. And the final form of it was, okay,
big
rockets
jump.
the big jump, and rockets is where my adrenaline goes high, right?
Wow,
so
man.
the final, I would say, I can't even say final right now, right? Things always evolve. I'm barely stepping out of high school. So I can't 100% say this is what I'm set on, this is what I'm done for. But the final form of it looking like right now is aerospace engineering.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like I was telling you that, on that date is that some people pursue careers that are difficult, in medicine, becoming a doctor and stuff like that. And like I was telling you, it is hard, but most likely you'll do okay, right? But with as a rocket science, I think it's even harder than that, and the chances of you succeeding are a little bit more slimmer.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is totally a concern that I'm always thinking about, right? Because you only find out how difficult a career is or how difficult it is to keep up with a career when you enter college and you start taking those high level classes to get a degree that is setting you up for, those jobs down the line. So that's something that's always a thought in the back of my mind. And really what's one thing that keeps me going is that it's just something that's so much bigger than me.
It is.
Right? It's something that's so much bigger than me, and just that idea alone is what motivates me to I have to, make my way.
Okay. When did you start feeling that way? Because it's not, it's you don't see that, on younger kids, like to really be passionate about something, something that gets you excited and you can stop thinking about it day and night. You probably go to sleep thinking about oh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What is happening at SpaceX? What is happening with NASA? What is out there?
Yeah. I was constrained to trying to watch as much movies as I can, or documentaries or YouTube videos of astronauts and this and that. But what
movies, they got me too, man.
Got me, right?
Yeah,
but then what changed for me was witnessing the Starship launch for the very first time. The very first launch for the Starship. And I feel like that ignited something in me.
Got it.
That flame that it ignited, that spark is there to this day, and I'm pretty sure it's so strong that it's going to remain. Because seeing a rocket like this ascend right in front of me gave me
Isn't it crazy,
goosebumps.
man?
It's insane. I had never imagined I would be witnessing something like this in real life, right? My dad had moved to the island before we had from Houston, and he sent me a video on the top of the roof of one of the buildings at the island and said, hey, look, they're sending a rocket. I'm like, what? They do that there?
So you had no idea?
I had no idea.
Oh,
I had no idea SpaceX was operating down here, right? And back in 2017, it was like things were barely just like picking up, and they were just taking form into what they want to do. So when I had come down here, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But then my dad sent me a video, and I'm like, wait, that's in Brownsville?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then seeing it for myself for the very first time was like, no, this is, I think I know what I want to do. I told myself that moment. I remember I was at the island. I was at the Isla Blanca Park, and I had told myself that.
You're like, I want to do something that has to do with that.
Yeah, I want to do it something that has to do with that.
Yeah, man. Even for me, I had seen the rockets here from the distance because you can see it here from my house, and then there's really good video online, that you can see. But when you see that rocket like close enough, where the experience, you feel the vibrations and stuff. Like, man, there's no video online that gives it justice to what it is to witness this in person.
Yes, no. And I've witnessed every single rocket launch so far. I've stepped out of meetings. I've left early from school. I've not gone to school at all, just so I can find my way to see it in real life, because there's nothing. And it's being there every time is like, okay, I want to be here again. I want to see it again, right? Yeah. So the emotion that it evokes inside of me is so strong that just besides the pure adrenaline that you get from seeing something like this and feeling the sonic booms be on your chest like this. Yeah. Besides that, it's really the emotional factor of seeing something like this and knowing that I could end up in a field like this is so strong. Yeah. And that feeling, as you said, you cannot find that feeling.
It's almost like if some kind of power puts something in your head saying, hey, nothing else matters. You're going to have to pursue something with this. Exactly. Because I already put a program in your head. Exactly. Right? The same thing happened to me. That feeling, it's completely different, but that's the feeling I had when I joined the military. Because I would see the Marines on TV and I'm like, man, there's something that was so strong, man. Yeah. So strong that I needed to participate in what they were doing. Yeah. Right. So I know that feeling. That no family member, no friend was gonna convince me otherwise. Exactly. Like, I knew what I was gonna do. Exactly. And I had no idea how to get to where those guys were at and on TV, but I was like, man, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna whatever the cost.
Yeah. And that can look different for everybody, right? For someone who wants to pursue the medicine field, and they might end up volunteering at a hospital and they saw something that really was like, no, I know for sure I want to do this. Or for someone who wants to study law or wants to study politics, might find themselves in a meeting where they see the lawyers and might see the juries and be like, wow, this is something I want to do. Yeah. For you said it was looking at what the Marines were doing and really spearheading towards that. Yeah. That same way, for me, it was at seeing that rocket launch and fantasizing all crazy about it.
Wow, man. You said you haven't missed any.
No.
Okay. Weren't some of them during school hours?
They were.
The ones in the afternoon?
There were some that was during the school hours, and I still found ways to get out of school so I can, cool. I would really convince my parents that, hey, I have to be there. It's a non-negotiable.
You were a little bit under the weather those days?
Yeah, I'm like, I think I'm a little sick today. I don't know. I think I'm a little sick.
No, I'm pretty sure that when somebody, and I'm talking about your parents, or when they can see the passion that you have for this, like they won't care. Like they'll let you, take a day off from school to go. Yeah, to go watch this launch, man.
Because they know how
it moves you.
Exactly. They know how it's contributing to something much greater than me just being out of school for a couple of hours. Yeah. And that's what's really seeing those rocket launches. For some, it may just be like, oh, just seeing something go boom, so go up there and right. Yeah. For me, it's the blocks that's building. For me to get to that extent. Correct. Right? To really put those things in my head that I want to do this. Yeah. The rocket launchers are really one of the biggest contributions to that. And my parents know that. Yeah. So my parents haven't had any resentment against me not trying to make efforts to be there.
I guess there's two things in that field that for someone that is interested, that can find motivation into, is there something else out there, right? That's one. That's what, and I'm not as passionate as you, but I read a lot about, space and other planets and stuff like that. What's out there, right? Everything that it has to do with this subject. because I truly believe there has to be something. We're so small compared to the rest of the universe,
Yeah.
right? And there's, I guess, other type of persons that are interested in just working with the technology, with the actual rocket.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking that day, propulsion, or the way that you shape a rocket. And I don't even know the word to
Yeah.
describe that science, but there's a lot of careers, I guess, that move around that
Yes.
field,
Yeah.
right?
So it's about looking at the stars, as you said. It's the bigger picture, right?
Oh, that was my question. So
Yeah.
for you, what it is, the technology or
It started off, as I said, with just space, right? It started with space, and engineering and space were things that were different. That were, as I mentioned, that aerospace engineering was really, for me right now, the final form of engineering that I want to do. Before that, engineering was independent, and my passion for space and astronomy was separate. So these two were separate roads that I was going down at the same time.
Got it.
They came together when I moved to Brownsville, and I found out
course,
SpaceX is here. So space and engineering intersected at aerospace engineering. So I still have a very, very strong passion for what's up there.
Even that feels a little bit to me like it's part of your destiny.
Yes.
Like a movie, because you're moving. And what is your country of origin?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia to the U.S. to Brownsville. The space program. And it's not just any space program, because, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
but the purpose of SpaceX, well, the Starship program, the one here in Brownsville,
Yes.
it is to make life multiplanetary.
Yes.
Sorry, I mispronounced the word, but to travel to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
That is the ultimate purpose. So that kind of like puts those two perspectives together, right?
Yeah, it's like what's
out there and the technology.
How to get there.
Yeah.
And what spoke to me more was that how can we get up there? What's the intricate technology that us humans can build to get us so far in space, right? So that's, for me, space is as intriguing as engineering is, but it just happens to be that engineering is something that I'm more drawn towards, because I've always been drawn towards how to build things and how are things actually done, or the systematic approach to making something like that happen.
I'm pretty sure that you research a lot what's going on at SpaceX, right?
I'm always keeping up to date.
Yeah.
I try my best.
So, okay, for and I know just a little bit, right? But for the people that might be listening, that they only see the launches every once in a while. Yeah. Oh, there's another one and all that. Can you tell us a little bit like what's exactly going on?
Yeah.
With a little bit more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, just a disclaimer, right? I'm like in no way
none of us.
associated
This
with
is just
SpaceX, but this is just like me being on social media, keeping up with the news, reading the articles, and just looking at the live streams and seeing what they're doing, and sometimes even driving out to see what's going on.
Yes.
So all the information that you're hearing from me is like based off of me collecting.
Yeah, we do not represent SpaceX.
We do not. Yeah.
And we are just giving our opinion on what's out there.
Exactly. We're just enthusiasts who have kept up with the news so we can deliver it to you.
All right. So with that being said, so what is it that they're doing?
Yeah. So looking at SpaceX as a whole, what I've understood from their motive is, yes, to make humans multiplanetary, to be part of the Artemis program, to take us back to the moon and take us to Mars. But the bigger idea behind it is that space is becoming commercialized, right? SpaceX has been the leading company in democratizing space. And when I say democratizing space, I mean making it accessible at efficient and ways that are at lower cost. Right? Because if we look at previous NASA missions, they were very costly. They were very costly because the rockets that they were sending up there, the boosters that they were making, the rocket engines, they knew were going to end back into the ocean. And they'll have to do the whole process again. And that's other millions of dollars you're having to put in to make something from scratch again. Rebuild the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Right? SpaceX found itself at an edge after they developed a rocket that's reusable.
Correct.
Right. And even before the Starship, it was the Falcon.
The Falcon.
The Falcon rocket that you see is at an amazing streak of taking stuff up there. Their rocket launches every week, every other week, sometimes even twice a week.
Correct.
Right. So SpaceX's goal is to commercialize space, and they just so happens to be the pioneers at it. So that's why all eyes are on SpaceX as of now. You still have other companies like Boeing, like Firefly, Rocket Lab. All these companies are beginning to pick up, right?
Correct.
But SpaceX has been a pioneer in it because it mastered how to make a reusable rocket. So commercializing space is really the bigger idea behind how SpaceX operates.
Yeah.
Like, how can they lower down costs of taking satellites to space? How can they make it more efficient so you're not spending as much money and as much manpower? How can you make this process of making rockets automated in a way that does not need so much human involvement to the extent that becomes very costly? All these factors contribute as to why SpaceX found itself in this position.
Correct.
And found itself really the pioneers in this industry because they mastered this reusable rocket. That's the bigger idea, right? And then one of their other projects just so happens to be brought down to Starbase, and that is in Brownsville, and that's the Starship.
Okay.
Right? The whole purpose of Starship is to, as you had said, make humans multi-planetary, right? And SpaceX is, if we talk about the location-wise, they find themselves in a very good spot because they're not only producing the rockets there, they're also launching it from there, right?
Yes.
That has not always been the case with rocket launches that have come from NASA previously. They are built all over the country. Different parts are built in like JPL, or they're built in California. They're built in upstate of like states like Massachusetts. All those places, they bring it all together, and then they launch it out of Cape Canaveral in Florida. So the process of making one vehicle that has its parts made in so many other parts of the country, and then bringing it down to Cape Canaveral is inefficient in a way because that takes more time.
Of course.
That is not the case with SpaceX. They have the Gigabay that they're making. They're producing rockets there. They will be mass producing rockets in a factory, basically like how cars are made, right? So having that factory that is producing rockets at an unprecedented pace and then launching it from there, it gives them the opportunity to, instead of sitting for months and months and trying to do the math calculations of how we can perfect this, the ideology there is that, hey, let's just launch and see what fails, and we can pick that up and then go back at it again. Yeah. Because they have the resources, they have the space to do it. Yeah. And they are under no time constraints because of how close they're running the operations. The operations at SpaceX are very tight-knit.
A lot of criticism now that you mentioned, right? Like to test all these rockets, right? People see them blowing up and stuff like that, but they don't know that it has a purpose. Yes. So correct me if I'm wrong, because, they even call, Elon, oh, he's an idiot. I'm like, dude, this guy is catching rockets the size of buildings. Yeah. Yeah. How is he an idiot, right? Well, that's one perspective, right? But the other thing is that he's doing it at a, I don't know, jump in, but because. Yeah, so what's going on every time that one of these rockets explodes?
Right. So I hear it every time. I even hear it from my parents. They're like, oh, I saw the rocket exploded. That was a failure, right? Like, they'll have to go back to their drawing boards. I'm like, yes, they'll have to go back to their drawing boards. But they gain so much data from that one rocket launch.
Got it.
That we don't see. SpaceX themselves, and just like for any company as well, right? When you're launching something into space, you're meeting different goals. Yeah. One at a time. It's not like just, getting up there's the ultimate goal. No, like clearing the launch pad itself is a major goal. Yes. Exactly. That's one of the most important things, right? And then going under max Q, that's when the rocket is undergoing the most pressure, right? Trying to get out of Earth's gravity. So there's so many milestones that taking a rocket from its launch pad to up there takes. So even though if it ends up exploding on re-entry, or it ends up exploding at MECO, which is the main engine cutoff when we see the separation, there's still so much data that's being constantly collected that they're using to, make a form of rocket after that, which is even better.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like a trial and error every single time for SpaceX. That's how they operate.
Yeah. And I mean, just building something, right? Even if you're building something out of wood, you want to know, depending on what you're building, right? But you want to test the material.
Exactly.
So the same way that you're just putting pressure on the material to see how resistant it is, how tough it is, right? they're doing the same thing with the rockets, pretty much, right?
Yes.
That way, in plain language for people that are listening.
Yeah, and
that's what they're doing.
That's exactly what they're doing.
They're pushing these rockets to the max, so they know failure points.
Exactly.
And then they can use that either to improve or to know that it was enough for the ultimate goal.
Exactly. And I don't know if you might have heard that I think it was maybe a month or two ago, maybe even less, when they were testing out the rocket, the booster at Macy's, and they were doing cryogenic test on the rocket, which is basically testing the pressure that the rocket the booster can withstand, right? And the rocket basically exploded because of the pressure that
on the ground.
Right. It was on the ground. It was grounded. There was no propellant inside of it, but they were just trying to push the rocket to its limit to see how far can we get with it, right? How much pressure can we put this rocket under and then see and cross that limit so we can take it back to the drawing board. So even though an outsider might see that, oh, they've been working on this for so long and it exploded, like, no, like they position themselves in a way so they can see what it's going to do when it explodes and how can they benefit off of that and how can they take that back to the engineers and be like, hey, so this is what happened and how can we reiterate and make it better. So that's really the mentality that SpaceX finds themselves in. And not like previous NASA missions have not ended up, in finding themselves in rough positions. And it's not the case that NASA's missions have not failed or have had fatalities behind the missions. But it's just right now it's more commonly seen because SpaceX is taking a robust approach with that. Like it's almost like they're expecting it. Right?
Of course.
It's not like they're hiding away from the fact that a rocket might explode. They're embracing the fact that, hey, it might happen, and how can we use that to our benefit? So people see these rockets explode sometimes, and the entire ideology becomes that he's drawing in this much money, or the engineers are working this much, and this is going in, and that is going in, just for the rocket to explode. Right? So it's really putting a different perspective.
Exactly. And also, and you talked about it, but all the benefits that you get by putting all these rockets to the max, right? You're collecting all this data. You can progress at a faster pace than if you're being careful, with anything.
Exactly.
If you don't push the stuff that you're building or what you're creating, you're trying to get to all these failure points, then you're not going to move as fast.
Exactly.
And SpaceX wants to move quick, right?
They want to move quick.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they're already moving quick. And they acknowledge that fact is why they'd rather just send a rocket every month or so and see what it does to then sitting on a table and working out the calculations all that time.
Especially for people that are the fishermen, they go to Boca Chica Beach, they know they're moving fast. Because they'll look back a couple years ago and it was only a trailer. And then you fast forward a couple years, and this place is amazing, man. Like facility after facility, buildings, and the way that they're making this rockets, the Starship. I mean, it's incredible. They're moving super fast.
Exactly.
Even though it's if you look back, 2017, 2018. I'm not sure of the exact date, but they're going really fast, man. And the improvements on the launches, it's incredible. Because I saw the hopper, the star hopper since the beginning. So now, like doing all this testings and catching the booster, man, which is a giant, it's incredible.
And for me, my comparison comes from the time I moved down here. So I can only compare how the pace that they're moving at from like 2021 to right now. But for someone like you who's been here for longer, how has that transformation been like? Like you saw it 2017, 2018, right? So how can you differentiate what was it like before and how they are right now?
That's, man, to me, that's why my mind is blown, because they were going so fast. I remember when deputies with the sheriff's office started doing security, when there was only one trailer, right? They would park their truck and just make sure that nobody was trespassing on their property, because they were building materials. So you would stop working that because it was just an extra gig, right? For extra money. You would not do it for a month or 2 months, and then you go back to work, and it was like, wait a minute, now there's like a giant building here. So it's going at a super fast rate. And like I said, we saw that star hopper on that first test, and now with you know, the whole starship and the separation with a booster, and then catching the booster, and then seeing on online the starship like flying all the way to what is it, Australia, or
the Indian Ocean,
the Indian Ocean,
re-enters.
And it re-enters in like under 30 minutes. Like, man, that's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you know. But anyway, man, do you think they're gonna get to Mars?
I think the pace that they're moving at, they will. I think they will make it to Mars. I think they will play a huge role in the Artemis mission. Yeah. And I think they will be one of the companies that will take us to Mars, and that will take us to the moon, because it's really the people that are working there, man, they are in it for all. Like, majority of the people that work there that know what the type of ethic or work ethic there is like is the go-getter mindset. Yeah. And when you have a team of engineers and a team of technicians and overall just a team of people that have that go-getter mindset. Yeah.
No, I was going to ask, what is since we're touching the subject, right? Reaching Mars. What does it involve? Because I read a little bit about how there's only like certain months of the year where you can actually launch this rocket to reach Mars, right?
Right.
Because it's going to use kind of like slingshot effect. Yeah. So you only have 2 or 3 months, right? So other than that, what else is required for the program to achieve before testing?
Right.
The first one
to take to Mars. Orbital mechanics, what you're saying is orbital mechanics. It's figuring out what the trajectory of a rocket will look like from the time of its ascent to making its way into the Earth's orbit, right? And it makes its way into the lower Earth orbit, the higher Earth orbit, before eventually, as you said, making its point to that launch window, and which rolls around every several months, to then slingshot and basically rendezvous into a trajectory that's en route to Mars. What that does is that positioning yourself on that trajectory, you're not using fuel, because in space you have no resistance. It's like a vacuum, right? So it's not like a car that you pedal in gas to keep it going. Unless you're in that vacuum space and a little bit of thrust to position yourself with a target, and that's all you need, and you're just going, right?
It's so with the Starship. It doesn't need to refuel to do the whole trip to Mars, or is there a plan? I don't know if I read that it had to reattach to fuel.
I think what you might have heard was that they might have to refuel on the way back from Mars, or even have some sort of a station that orbits Mars for the Starship to connect to refuel.
To refuel.
Okay. Yes, because it will, even though the gravity on Mars is not as much as it is here on Earth, it's still something that needs to be accounted for. So for them to for one rocket to not only escape the Earth's gravity and find its way towards Mars, it also has to find its way back to Earth. It still has to get out of Mars' gravity to find itself in the lower Mars orbit, to then potentially position itself to come back to Earth. Yeah. So there has to be not a station, but really a way for them to refuel the Starship back, because for it to be done on one Starship with the tank that leaves that from Earth, I mean, the whole point, and we can only imagine how much fuel is going to take. It takes one whole booster for a Starship to just make it out of Earth's gravity.
Yes, exactly. Right? So you're almost on empty.
Exactly. You know? So you're using a whole booster just to get out of Earth's gravity. So you can only imagine that the amount of fuel it will take for the rocket to not only leave Earth, get to Mars, land on Mars, and then again ascend from Mars and make its way back on Earth.
How many Raptor engines on the booster, and how many on the Starship?
I think it's 33 Raptor engines on the booster, around that ballpark.
Yes.
Yeah, it's around 33.
30 some, yes.
Yeah, it's around 30 some Raptor engines on the booster. I know that they will now soon start using the Raptor 3 engines, which produces way more power, around, I'm not mistaken, over 250 bars, 280 bars of pressure that each Raptor engine is producing. Might even be higher, right? So having a new iteration of an engine that they're going to be putting in a rocket is just, it will be exciting for the next launch that they'll be doing.
I remember that I was telling you that on the parade of Charo Days, remember they had that engine, And a lot of people were like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Dude, that's the Raptor engine." I was excited about it to see it. And then, was that the first or the second
I
version?
think that might have been the second.
Okay,
The second Raptor.
because
engine.
compared to the new one that I saw online that they're using, I think that's the 3.
The third Raptor, yes.
They're not using it yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
No, they haven't used
but
it
I
yet.
saw it and it's like clean,
Oh, yes.
smaller. It looks like just more efficient.
Yeah, and if you look at it from if we just take a step back and you look at all the 3 Raptor engines in front of you and you compare them, you're telling me that something that is way less intricate than what the first engine looked
Exactly.
like, and it's producing so much more power. It doesn't add up.
Exactly.
Right? Like you're telling me that you built something that is twice as powerful as the first engine, but it's like
But it's smaller.
it's smaller, it's simpler, right?
It goes against any
principles.
Any principles because you expect for more power to be bigger.
Yeah.
Like especially when it's within a couple of years, man.
Yeah, yeah. And when you ask the question that is the Raptor engine only going to get better from here? Yes. There may not be as big of the leaps in the amount of thrust that a Raptor engine can produce, but they will still make efforts to simplifying the rocket. So you never know. In the 4th iteration of the Raptor engine, it still may produce more power than the previous engine, but it might even be more efficient. It might require less material. It might even be cheaper. So once SpaceX tries
That's also probably where you're attracted to all this career, right?
Like,
because there might be something there to be discovered that is going to make this trip easier.
There you go. Yeah, it's not point A to point B and we're done. Yeah. It's like
it's not like, okay, the engine, we already reached its max capacity.
Yeah.
Forever. Like, this is it. No, there's so much potential, right?
Exactly.
So much out there.
There is no max capacity. It's equivalent to saying that you want to work in a lab in the medicinal field. Yeah. There's always something to discover. There's always ways to find antibacterials, and there's always ways to get new researches for new methods to save humans from germs and diseases and all these things. It's really the same ideology, in just whole new cover. Yeah, there's just something that's just so much more that needs to be discovered.
Exactly,
and you're telling me that I could get to be a part of it.
Yeah. Man, I get excited just seeing your excitement, with this field. You said that they're also trying to do a program to go to the moon?
Yes. So as far as I know, there will be involvement of SpaceX with the Artemis mission. We do know that NASA has their SLS rocket, which they'll be using to take us back to the moon. But SpaceX, after that, would have involvement in using their rockets to get us back to the moon, or either build a lunar station that is going to, be like a connection point to get us from Earth to Mars. Because ultimately, what they're trying to use the moon for is as a stop. Think of it as like a layover.
Yeah.
If you want to go, let's say you want to go to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Let me think about it for a little bit. Yeah. I'm very, like, when I learn, like, I have to draw stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you have the Earth, and the moon is coming around it, and you were going around the sun, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, you can use the moon as a
Well,
it's not a midpoint, but
as a base.
It's a base.
As a base to refuel, as a base to slingshot, set yourself up on a path to go to Mars.
Exactly.
So SpaceX will have a role in taking us to the moon, because it will be like a base for them to connect the Earth, the starships, to take us to Mars, right?
Yeah.
So it's really part of the bigger picture. If I can put it in like really simple terms without getting to technicalities, because that's what it really is. It's for the purpose for them to also give a shot at going back to the moon, is so they can use that potentially as a way to make it more efficient to then go to Mars.
Now, there's also the minerals in the moon, right? That they talk about. Like, that's something that can use to, I guess, fund all these programs and all this trips to other planets in the future, right?
Yeah.
So it is, I guess, on the best interest of the U.S. to have something, I guess, on the moon. Man, it's exciting, and I hope that I can see it in my lifetime.
Exactly. And I hope so
I
as
think
well.
I think we are.
I think so. At the pace that we're moving at. I mean, we're already making plans to go back 2028, right? To go back to the moon, make a lunar orbit, and see what it's like. So for humanity to go back that close to the moon, I've always heard stories about it. The Apollo mission.
Yeah.
And I always told myself, oh man, I wish I was born back then, right? I wish I was born in the 60s, the 70s to see what the space program was like back then and to sit in front of a screen and see a human on the moon.
A lot of conspiracies around that, you know?
Oh, yes, a lot of conspiracies around that, right? Because
you do believe that we were at the moon back then or not?
I think so. And I think we were at the moon.
It's just more like a fun question.
It's more like I think we were at the moon, but the reason that people question that is because like, well, why haven't we been back to the moon?
Exactly.
Like you're telling me that we went in the 60s and the 70s and now we don't have the technology to go back to the moon? Like, and what I tell them is that, well, it's not that we don't have the technology or we can't. It's just that we have no need to go back to the moon. You do have to realize historically back in the Apollo mission, the United States was in a position to, you know, one up the Russian space program.
Exactly,
And so it was just, you were positioned in a way where it became more about the power and more about the dominance to be one of the first countries to end up on the moon than anything.
Yeah.
Right? So when that motivation was drawn back down, well, now you have other things that the space industry wants to focus on. So it's no longer about going back to the moon until now.
Yeah.
So for all that gap that we've had of like 60 years or so, is because of that. It's not because we lost the technology to go back to the moon.
Exactly.
It's just that we didn't even lose the motivation. It was just it wasn't in the interest of us to funnel in millions of dollars to go back to the moon in this gap that we've had again until now.
Now, another thing that I tell people is that sometimes, right, especially with governments, right, you can pretend that you achieve the goal when you haven't, but you know you're gonna get there, just so that you can kind of like set up as being the first one.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like it's like, and this happens everywhere, not just with governments. Like people do it too.
Yeah.
Like you're doing a task, you know, at work and your boss calls you, hey, are you done with this assignment? You're like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Knowing that you're almost there.
Yeah.
You will get there.
Yeah.
You were not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, but so, you know, that happens with governments or big companies. They bluff each other.
Exactly.
You know, but that doesn't mean that it didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
Right? That's the way I see it. Yeah, there might have been some pretend maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of research on that. So this is just my opinion. But if there was something, maybe they were just, you know, saying we already there, which eventually they did.
Yeah. So I don't believe in the statement that we've never been to the moon because I do. We've been to the moon. There's evidence of us being on the moon. We have samples back from the moon. We have everything to prove that we're on the moon. A lot of the questions that people raise and a lot of the conspiracies mainly revolve around whether or not we were the first ones to be on the moon, whether or not Apollo 11 was the mission that took humans to the moon. And the reason they question that is because, as you said, they wanted to bluff and they just found themselves in a position where they had to have some sort of motivation for the space program to pick up. So based on the timing, the timeline that they found themselves in, it makes people question that, hey, like, did you go back to the moon then?
Yeah.
Right. But for people to say that we've never been to the moon, that's I find that as a very a radical statement. In a way.
It's because the conspiracies guys, they always have good arguments.
They do. They always have stuff to offer. And trust me, I'm the type of person that even though I might not believe in what you're proposing, I would still love to learn about what you have to say and tell me all about it. Right? Is there just something in me to learn, to know?
In your analytical mind, and then, you're like, hey, dude, give me your point of view.
Exactly. And then let me try to piece it in my mind, right? I might not fully agree with what you have to say, but that does not mean I don't want to listen to what you have to say.
Exactly.
So I still find myself watching documentaries and watching videos and what these conspiracy theorists have to say. And like, okay, like I see where they're coming from, but then I see videos that contradict what they're saying. So it's like a whole thing in my head. But I still love hearing from those individuals and interacting with such individuals and with content that says otherwise.
Because sometimes in between those lines, there might be something useful for you, right?
Exactly.
This happened to and I told you that I was in law enforcement for 13 years.
Yes.
And most of the time I was also a criminal investigator. So, you have to listen to everybody sometimes.
Exactly.
Because you don't know. You might find the answer to what you're looking for with the approach or the angle, the point of view of someone else.
Yeah.
Someone else that you think, oh no, this guy's crazy. He was,
Yeah.
So it happens everywhere in every field.
Exactly. You always have to be a student.
Mm-hmm.
You should never forget, no matter how far you get into that field. And I mean, I'm nowhere near that point. And really, there's no even objective way to saying that there's a point.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad that I'm approaching the next years of my life with the mindset that you always have to be a student. Yes, you make it out of college. Yes, you'd find like a really good job in a space agency. Maybe even might become the head of that program at that mission. You still have to be a student.
Yeah,
I hold myself to that principle strongly, because day you tell yourself that you know everything, even though there's no way of saying that you know everything, but the day you put that ideology, that thought in your mind that, oh, I know everything about this
mindset,
field. That just means that you're not in the right spot. Maybe you need to go for something bigger.
Exactly.
So you always need to be a student. That's why you always need to hear for everyone else.
Exactly. What did you follow what was going on with the Atlas 31 or that?
Yeah, I did.
I just heard a little bit. So what's going on with all that?
Yeah. So I first found out about the 31 Atlas.
31 Atlas,
yes. When I was researching to make a video. So I volunteer with this organization here called South Texas Astronomical Society.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my roles as an intern is that I make social media content that covers subjects such as stuff that's happening in space or new missions or new things that we as a humanity are pacing towards when it comes to the space industry, right? So when I came across the 31 comet, the Atlas, I was quite intrigued.
Is there a difference between comet and asteroid?
Yes. So the difference in a comet is that it's something that is interstellar. It's also, the composite is different. It has an icy tail. It's made up of different metals and minerals besides meteors. Meteors are more like rocks, like space rocks. Still metallic minerals in it that make its way to sometimes even Earth. But comets are something that are like more interstellar. They're not, we as humans won't observe them as commonly. I don't know if you've heard of the Halley's Comet a while ago.
Maybe,
so
yes.
Comets are not as common for us to come across as meteors or like asteroids, which are different. But that's I would say from the top, like a difference, that comets are usually interstellar objects.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's what 31 Atlas is. It's an interstellar object. It's something that is from it's not from our galaxy. It's something from afar.
Yes.
Right. And because it's something that has not existed in our galaxy is why people, I made a video on it. I posted the video on it. And then a week or two after that, I started seeing all these conspiracies come up. Like, it's like something that the aliens are operating, or it's interstellar, but interstellar means something that is not from our space region.
Correct.
Just because something is interstellar doesn't mean it's an alien object. Right?
Yes.
But because it was an interstellar object and it's something that has never made its way past us, and people are like, oh, is this
what was fueling, I think, all this conspiracy theories? Well, not conspiracy theories, but to believe that it was alien spaceship, or it's because he was acting different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's all the scientists said. Oh, this might be some different type of comet
exactly
that we have observed before.
Exactly.
And people from there went nuts.
Mm-hmm. And you see this ideology come up very often. Space is a mystery for us. Mm-hmm. It will remain a mystery for us because you can never solve everything about space. You can never know space in entirety. So whenever, and even looking at the past, whenever humans have come across something that even the scientists don't have answers to, it gets declared as something that is alien related.
Yeah.
Right? That is something that you have seen in the past. I would assume this is also one of those instances. Just because the scientists may not be able to give us like fully descriptive answers, it's something that's alien, right? Because even for those that are studying something like this, right, this phenomenon, even for them, it's something that, okay, like what's going on? Like, why do we have vague answers to what the people have to ask? So when they do get answers such as, oh, it's just a comet that is behaving, it has a different behavior, something that we haven't seen before, it's not from our space region, people assume that, oh, it's something that's alien related.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a spaceship.
What was that different behavior?
It's really, I feel like the different behavior was in orbit or the way that it was changing, because there are telescopes that are imaging stuff in space. And I feel like there were some discrepancies in how that comet was photographed,
Oh,
that it appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. And that's why people are questioning whether or not it's something that's a
Yeah.
comet or something that's alien, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it goes back to the influence of the pop culture,
Yes,
the,
yes.
the movies, and all these things. And it just puts people in that
Yeah.
mindset that, oh, if we can't get answers to something,
YouTube
Probably
videos
aliens.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Because they were expecting for something to happen when it was the closest to Earth, right?
yeah,
And-
people were gonna say it was gonna like
And nothing
destroy
happened.
Earth, or
Yeah.
it was gonna do this, it was gonna do that, or I mean, I find that not funny, but I find that as a more like a tacky side
Mhm.
to what space has to offer. So
Yeah.
you gotta enjoy what the people have to say,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there will always be something that people have to say about things as such.
Yeah. Man. So, did you graduate? Are you gonna graduate now in May?
Yes, I will be graduating 2026 May.
What is the next step for Rayyan Farooqui?
Next step is college.
Mm.
The whole reason behind my family moving to the United States was so that we can pursue higher education, right? So we can go to these universities and we can position ourselves to be set up for success down the line in the future, right? So the idea is that after high school and go to college,
Yes.
I have an older brother. He's in college. He's doing pre-med. I'm next up and I'm entering engineering. I don't know where,
Mm.
right? I still don't have an answer to that question. I don't
Yeah.
know where I'll be. I'm applying to like 20 plus schools. I could end up on the East Coast, on the West Coast. I could end up staying in Texas. I could
Yeah.
end up in Atlanta. I could end up anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I do know for a fact that the next step is that I want to study aerospace engineering at college or mechanical engineering.
Is that the actual name of the degree? Because I don't know.
Yes, that is now the actual name of a degree. It wasn't.
Okay.
Right? It would just be that. I mean, when NASA was doing their
They're
Apollo
just hiring
program,
electrical engineers, mechanical engineers.
exactly.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as an aerospace engineer.
Okay.
It was only in the recent years that they saw the demand in an industry that is booming now
Yeah.
that they named it aerospace engineering.
Mm.
And for the most part, aerospace engineering and mechanical engineering are similar,
Okay.
right? For the first 2 years, you're taking classes that are disciplinary to both mechanical and also aerospace, because aerospace is basically a concentration from mechanical engineering. It's a more concentrated field in specific things, because mechanical engineering is very broad.
You want more
right?
coffee?
I think I'm good on coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. But yeah, mechanical engineering is a very broad field. If you're a mechanical engineer, there are a lot of fields that you can enter.
Yeah.
Aerospace engineering just happens to be a more narrowed down, a more focused, more specialized version of what mechanical engineering can offer. And because of the need in this industry is why you have this thing now called aerospace engineering. And even now, not all colleges offer aerospace engineering. Like there's some colleges that I'm applying to that do not offer aerospace.
That's what I was going to ask, because there's probably going to be a lot more kids just like you, that because we are so close to SpaceX here, to the Starship program, that maybe aspire to do something in this field, right?
Yeah.
You're probably way ahead of them right now, or from most, and just because the fact that you're a senior and you have done research for a long time. So to the younger guys, like, what universities are an option to go do this? Like, is there anything here in Texas, or do you have to
there are
look
options in Texas, but there are more options outside of the state of Texas, right? For reference, the only Texas schools that I have, one of the strong ones that I really encourage everyone to look at, is UT Austin.
Okay.
Right? UT Austin has a strong engineering program, their Cockrell School of Engineering, and specifically aerospace engineering now. I have a cousin, she's doing aerospace engineering at UT Austin.
Oh, wow. So they do have it.
They do have an aerospace engineering program. They have a lot of opportunities. I've heard from alumni from UT who have been engaging in things beyond just the classroom with programs and internships and all these opportunities. I mean, Heck, we have NASA in Houston. We now have SpaceX in Boca Chica.
Mhm.
So UT Austin is definitely one of the best options if we're looking at Texas for aerospace engineering, to be specific.
Also, probably, and I hate to talk about money, but man, universities are expensive
Oh,
nowadays.
don't get me. Trust me.
So, I guess that's a good option. UT Austin, if he has
Yeah.
a program for aerospace.
Yeah, and you've got to realize that going to college is not the only way to enter this field, right? I know individuals who haven't gone to college, who don't have a college degree, and they're still working at companies like SpaceX,
Yeah.
right? So now I'm going to touch on another subject, and this subject is why SpaceX stands out to me,
Okay.
is because it's not a company that just wants a degree. They'll have applicants walking through that door and everyone has a degree. They will ask you what makes you different.
Oh,
Right. So for them, yes, you have like those really high technical engineering roles that does require for you to have an understanding of, certain aspects of rocketry and physics and aerodynamics and propulsion, all these things. But even then, you can still make your way up at a company like SpaceX without having a college degree. Right.
Got it.
So people may often think of SpaceX or any aerospace company as intimidating because it requires so much education that needs to go in behind, but there are still ways to enter this field without having a college degree. And I know people firsthand,
or without having been graduated from this Ivy League university.
Exactly. Yeah, like that is true, but to a certain extent.
Correct.
Right? But that's not the whole story.
Exactly.
And for a company like SpaceX, what I like the most is that they focus on skills, they focus on practicality.
Exactly.
If you know how to do this, and another person who does not know how to do this but has a degree, they'd rather invest in you who knows how to do this, and and they know you'll get the job done if you have what it takes, right?
Yeah.
For them, just a degree does not dictate if you know how to do a certain thing.
Yeah, I guess I can tell you as an example, at the beginning, there was those stories where they needed people that knew how to weld, right?
Yeah.
Welders. So Starship is mostly stainless steel, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Aluminum. Yeah.
this is what I heard, right? They were doing, they were trying to hire a bunch of welders, and some show up, and I have this certification from this or this degree from that. They're like, we don't care. Can you weld stainless steel? Here's 2 pieces of stainless steel. Go ahead, show us that you can do it, right? They didn't care about this is the stories that I hear, right? They didn't care about degrees, certifications, or whatever. All this experience. No, can you do it? Okay, you're hired. You're not.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm assuming something similar is going on
Exactly.
at the upper levels of
Exactly.
rocket design.
And you can make your way up to even becoming a director. You can make your way up to becoming the lead of a mission, and you might not even have a college degree, right? And the sole reason you can do that is that you can start off as working as a technician, someone who works on hands-on, someone whose job is to just do one thing and do it again and again and again, right? But it's what you have inside of you, like that your passion to learn, your passion to go beyond what you're already doing. SpaceX really, it complements that, right? Because if you want to end up working in a different department, or you want to end up working at a higher position, as long as you can prove them that, they'll give you the tools to set yourself up for success.
Elon Musk himself has always said, right, that you can get an education, a high level education, just by all the information that is online out there with videos and research that is posted out online. That you don't need a university. So I'm assuming if you have the leader of a company like that with that mentality, then what you're saying is true.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say it's not black and white, right? It's not like you don't need a college degree. One of the most important skills that you'll learn are in college. So it's not really putting value to the grades that you might have in college associated with that degree, but it's more or less putting value to the fact that you're in a place that is really, you're surrounded by professors and you're surrounded by peers, and you have the opportunities to get skills, to be part of clubs and do internships and really take benefits of all these things just besides classrooms.
Yes.
So benefiting of all those things and getting those skill sets prepared is just giving you an edge. It's setting you up for success already.
Yeah.
So it's not like you don't need a college degree, because yes, you could argue that you don't need a college degree.
Yes.
But you need so much more besides a college degree that you find on a college campus, which really just goes hand in hand with why you might need a college degree.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that you will not end up in SpaceX if you do or do not have a college degree. I'm just saying that if you do have a college degree, you have an edge over someone who might not.
Exactly.
So
because
that dynamic's still there.
If you're serious about it, you know, like, and you take advantage of those 4 to 5 years of engineering, and you learn, but you actually learn, because some people just learn to pass a test.
Yeah.
But they don't retain any knowledge, you know? So, but if you're learning, so it's going to help out a lot.
Exactly.
Because on top of that, if you're one of those guys that can attach, you know, a rocket to a car, to an engine, then they want that.
Exactly.
Because you have the creativity, the creative mind with the engineering, you know, background, then
to pull that off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
To pull that off, you're going to be someone that, of course, they're going to want to hire.
I could easily, no, I wouldn't say easily, but I can very likely get a job at SpaceX right as soon as I get out of high school. I know I've been told there are people that are like 17, 18 years old, 19 years old, already working at SpaceX.
Wow.
Right out of high school.
Yeah.
So SpaceX is a company that's not black and white. It's not only that they don't hire people that with degrees, or they only hire people without degrees.
Yeah.
It's just that you have an option, because the way SpaceX operates is that they just need people who can get it done. If you don't have a degree but you can get it done, you're on board. If you do have a degree and you can get it done, well, you're also on board.
Yeah.
So it's just that the type of people that they're making their group out of to put something into space like that, it just works out.
Yeah.
Right? It works out in your favor either way. Just the one thing that you need to have, regardless of whether you have a degree or not, is have that passion.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Have that consistency, have a strong work ethic, because that's all they look for. They will teach you how to do something, but they need to know if they're investing their time and resources into the right person. Exactly. That's all they need to know.
I guess that's passion is the right word, man.
Yeah.
Because in every field I see sometimes people that tell me, "Oh, I'm just doing this because my dad wanted me to do it." So even though they have a degree from this university, from this prestigious university, but there's no passion. Oh, I'm just here because my dad was an engineer, so I had to do it too.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you get someone like you know, that has that drive. Maybe no family member that was into this field before, but you have that drive to innovate, to do that passion to find out, you know, like, of course, man.
Like you're lost with that mindset. I mean, I've been told that there are people that be working at SpaceX, they're in it for the money. Yeah. They say that, oh, I'm here at SpaceX because I get paid well.
Yeah.
But then those are the people that get dropped out first.
Exactly.
Because it takes so much more than just the motivation of, oh, I'm making good money to keep you going.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling me that you're working a 12, 13-hour shift, right, it gets to a point where someone would say that, oh, man, this is all that for money, yes, but I'm putting so many more things on the line.
Yeah.
You won't be making that statement, or you're less likely to make that statement if your passion and your drive is just so crazy that you're looking beyond the money factor of it. I feel like that's the place that I would find myself in initially if I enter a field like this. It will not be about the money. It's not the fact that, you know, I can make this much money as an engineer. No, it's the fact that I'm working in a field like this and I'm working towards something, as I said in the beginning, something that's so much more greater than me, is something that will keep me going, even if it's a 12-hour long shift.
Yeah. Wow. It's, man, I just can't believe that I'm talking to someone that is 19 years old. You're so mature. How did that happen, man? Is it because, and I like, you're coming from another country, right?
Yes.
Is it because you're really taking the opportunities that you see here, that you're serious about all this, that you're not wasting time like maybe other students that take things for granted?
That's the biggest thing. And I was on another podcast a month or two ago on Brownsville Matters. And for me, the biggest thing is that there's so much to lose. There's so much, right? So much is at stake for me here. Yes, you have those expectations established upon you that you have to uphold since you were little, right?
Yeah.
But those are just the foundations of it. The whole reason that my family started from square one, right?
Yes.
Left everything behind, moved over here,
Mhm.
started a new life, right? Just
Yes.
for us, just for my siblings, just so
Mhm.
we can have a better life.
Exactly.
I cannot just slack off. I cannot just right now not do good at school.
Yeah.
And even then, just doing at school is a bare minimum.
Yes.
There's these opportunities that I did not even know existed
Mm.
until I put myself out there.
Mm.
And I chose to put myself out there because I know that these opportunities will just fly by me if I don't avail them. And maybe
Yeah.
these are the opportunities I never would have had if I stayed in Saudi Arabia or I went to Pakistan,
Yeah.
right? So the fact that I'm here, right? God does things in a miraculous way and you don't see it,
Mm.
right? But maybe the reason I'm here, maybe the reason I'm in Brownsville
Mhm.
is to benefit off of all these things that I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known otherwise. So I can't just slack off and not do good in school or not take the benefit of different organizations
Yeah.
and position myself in a way that I can set myself up for success.
Yeah.
That is the motivation. Maybe you could say that's where that maturity aspect comes
Yes.
in, is
Yeah, because you're very mature.
it's not
you
taken
know?
for granted.
Yeah.
You know, people like kids who might have grown up here. I'm not speaking on everyone's behalf, but
Mhm.
what the general consensus tends to be is that when you're in a place as such, you take things for granted.
Yes.
You take going to school for granted.
Yeah.
I woke up in the morning and I got to go to school and I got to learn from teachers and I got to engage and do all
Yeah.
these things. I don't take it for granted. Trust me.
Yeah.
I thank God for the opportunities that I have. I don't just let it fly past me.
Yeah.
So recognizing the blessings that you have and recognizing the opportunities that you have just makes
Yeah.
you more appreciative of them. And it tells you what the true value of those things are. Because
Yes.
you could very well just blow past high school and not do all these things because you
Yeah.
never saw the value in them or just
Yeah.
never made the effort to actually get them.
Yeah.
But I don't take them for granted. And me even sitting inside of a classroom is like, wow, like I'm sitting here
Yeah.
and I can only imagine how many kids would give up so much to just be in the position that I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
if they want it as bad and I already have it, there's no reason for me to not approach it with this go-getter mindset.
Yes. Now, let me ask you this. Since, and I'm assuming, right,
Mhm.
that you have been a very successful student with really good grades up till now, and you are involved with other projects and stuff outside of school,
Mhm.
is there, or did you put a lot of pressure now on yourself to succeed now in the future? You know, like instead of maybe if you hadn't done this good so far,
Mhm.
it would be a lot more relaxed for you
Right.
to then keep going.
I feel like given my mindset, I would have felt more pressured if I didn't do all these things
Mm.
and still planned to go to college. Right now, I don't feel as pressured, right? Because I gathered an idea of what it would look like when I get to college, what it would look like when I'm in college when I have to balance clubs and organizations and still stay on top of class.
Yes.
So I used high school as a sandbox, as a playground to see, okay, what does it look like when I try to stay on top of my grades, but then I still try to join extracurriculars and I still try to join organizations and civic organizations and a rocket team, right? What does it look like when I try to do all these things and still try to stay on top of my grades? Because at the end of the day, that is priority, right? Everything else comes after that.
Yes.
So if anything else, I'm more relaxed going into college because I know how I function in scenarios as such.
Yeah.
I'm not comparing it when you get to college. It's different.
Yeah.
But at least know how I will function when I'm put in a position as such.
Got it.
And yes, I have set a high expectation for myself. Like I hold myself to a high standard when it
Mhm.
comes to these things, and I do that on purpose because if it was any lower, then that's really just me settling for the bare minimum. Like
Okay.
for me, just doing good in school, just school is like settling for the bare minimum,
Mm-hmm.
right? I said this.
It is.
Yeah, I said this in the other
Unfortunately.
podcast, and the world is moving too fast. You
Mhm.
need to build these skills. You need to know how to network. You need to know how to speak. That's why I'm in Toastmasters, right? That's
Yeah.
what see me there.
Your
It's-
English pretty good, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's taking advantage of the fact that you need all these things
Yes.
to make you a well-rounded individual, regardless of whichever field you end up in.
Exactly, in every field.
Exactly. A degree should not be the only thing that you can say about yourself on your resume.
Exactly.
So it's considering that all these companies look for these things, and life looks for these things. Life is not going to treat you any differently just because you have a college degree.
Yeah.
But how you tackle it depends on how many skills and how much experience you were able to gain from things beyond just the walls of a classroom to know how you can get yourself out of a situation.
Oh, man. Yeah. Do you have a lot of time to do, teenage kid stuff, activities?
Now, yes.
Things that are fun for you?
Now, yes. I've been like head down spearheading it all this time since for the past 5 years that I've been here. One thing that I always heard individuals tell me was that, hey, don't forget to be a kid. I never knew what that meant.
That's why my question.
Yeah, like I remember being told this even at one of the Toastmasters meeting. I had just given my speech and I was being given feedback. I was being given evaluation on my speech. And the last feedback that I was given by Robert Vidal, he's the president of Toastmasters now, was that don't forget to be a kid.
Wow.
Right? And you know how you're being told one thing for so long, but then it just takes one person to tell you that again to get you thinking, like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah, when it goes through.
Yeah, when it finally goes through. And I was like, I do not want to leave this part of my life behind and have no stories to share when I'm older.
Because it's also important.
Exactly. If all I have to say is that I did this, I did that, I was in this organization, I did this competition, I did this, I did yada yada, all that, I won't consider that a well-lived teenage life because I missed out on experiences.
Got it.
Right? For the longest time, I thought I don't need those things. I was like, I don't need to be doing all this.
Yeah.
Like,
which is weird for someone your age.
Exactly. I was like, I don't need to go out with my friends, or I'd rather be at this meeting that I need to attend, or I'd rather do this and I'd rather do that. But that ideology changed when I'm constantly being told one thing, and senior year rolls around and that thing shifted for me. A lot of things I had never experienced before up until now. Like, and I would tell that to people like, even until a couple months ago. Now I find myself within a group of friends that I really, hold dear to my heart, and it's this right people at the right time kind of a situation. Yeah. With them, I experienced things that I would have left to college without experiencing.
Like just hanging
going
out,
to a first
video games. Do you video
even that? Like I don't really play video games, but just hanging out, just not having to worry about school, not having to worry about clubs, and going out for the sake of fun.
Yes.
Going to my first ever high school football game. I'd never been to a high school football game. I never knew what it was like. Yeah. I always thought I don't need to know what it's like until I actually was like, hey, you know what? I'll go this one time with my friends.
It's cool.
Yeah. What is it all about? Yeah. And then I went to one, and another one, and another one. And so far I'm like, wow, like you're telling me I could have missed out on an experience as such.
Yeah.
I would have went to college without knowing what these things are like.
Yeah.
My parents, they acknowledge that fact. Yeah. So when I tell them now, hey, I'm going out with my friends, they don't tell me, hey, like, where are you going? Like, where are you going? They're glad that I'm going, because before this, whenever I was leaving the house was because I had to be at a meeting or I had to be somewhere that was like work or school related.
Got it.
So for them to see me now leave the house with my friends to maybe just even hang out at a cafe or just go eat, it makes me a well-rounded individual. Yes. That feeds into the aspect that I'm saying that you need to acquire all these skills.
You have to.
And part of that skills is also, being
because
a friend group.
Those type of experiences, it's going to help the other aspect of your career. Yeah. It's going to make it grow even better.
Exactly.
Because you didn't miss out on those experiences that you're supposed to have, man, as a 18, 19-year-old.
Exactly.
Even on your 20s, man, you still have to. And you know what? One thing that I learned from very successful people is that they always have time to do everything. Mm-hmm. That's how I realized when I was older that that's how you know they're successful, because they have time to run all these businesses, careers, they read, and they also have fun. So, you know, it's
Yeah.
also part of being successful,
Yeah.
man. It's just that they know how to manage their time,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. And for me, it would have been one-sided. I am a firm believer in work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
But I just realized that up until this time, I'd just been working hard and I was missing out on the playing hard factor of things.
Got it.
Right. So when I found myself surrounded by the right people, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like let's try out that playing hard
Yeah.
factor. Because if you would have asked me the same question a year ago, I might have not given you the same answer.
You're
I
like,
might have,
No,
I was like, no, like,
I'm cutting all the noise out.
exactly. I had been cutting out all the noise out, right? Up
Mhm.
until now. So I'm glad that being around certain individuals, my ideology changed.
Yes.
Not changed, but it got added onto it, right? That
Exactly.
you can still do all these things. You can still be in all these clubs and organizations, but on
Yeah.
top of that, you need to have these skills. So it was knowing the value and the importance of also
Yeah.
doing something just random.
And that's really cool, man, that you are realizing all this at 19, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And not later on when you
Yeah.
are 30 some and you're like, man, I should have spent a little bit more time.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in high school.
If I look, if 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I had to look back and I didn't have stories to share about how fun my
Yeah.
high school was like, then I would say that I failed at
Yeah.
making the most out of
Yeah.
high school. And I didn't want it that way.
Now, the field that you're in sometimes can also be fun to do more of this stuff, right? You said you're involved with a club
Right.
that is gonna do a rocket
Yes.
coming soon. Tell
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about that.
So I mentioned the South Texas Astronomical Society, right? This is a nonprofit organization here in Brownsville. They host a lot of events, a lot of outreach events to get people excited about space and about aerospace and about learning all these things,
awesome.
right? We have community events very often, and a lot of people love to come out, and a lot of kids love to come out. I've been part of that organization volunteering since I was in 10th grade, since I was a sophomore.
Wow.
And through this organization, I found out that there's this rocket team called Launchpad, right?
From here?
From in Brownsville, there's this brand under the umbrella of the South Texas Astronomical Society that we call STARS, right?
Okay.
I learned that I was told by one of the members of the STARS organization that, hey, you're interested about these things, you should come out, right? And there was these students that had started this organization, and it was run by one of my now mentors, Phil. He had told me, hey, just show up and see what it's all about, right? And at that point, there were just two individuals on that team, Aldo and Julio. Julio was one of those individuals that really this organization picked up from. He's one of my good friends now. And the idea was that, hey, we're just trying to make a rocket. Just trying to make a rocket, just trying to put it up there. We're the first high school students. It's the first high school student-led rocket team in the Valley.
Okay.
And this would be something exciting. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Why not? Just like every other organization, we started working on a hybrid rocket engine, right?
Okay.
A hybrid rocket engine is a bit more on the complex side because it's liquid and solid propellant. So it's two different types of propellant that are going in making this engine, and it comes with its own set of complexities. We worked on trying to get things sorted out for that rocket, the injectors,
Okay.
the pumps, and all these things. But things were really slow, right? We
Mhm.
were moving at a slow pace. And then we decided to pivot until this past summer, and we had some individuals who had worked with us in the past to redefine the curriculum of this rocket team, which we call Launchpad.
Okay.
And now we have a team of 15, 16 people, 12
Wow.
of which are technical team members.
Mhm.
We have all the departments that you would find in a rocket team. So we have the avionics, we have operations and recovery, you have your
Wow,
structures, and and there's another team I'm forgetting. You have your business management team as well.
Of course,
You
which is
have-
important.
Exactly. You have this group of people now that I am now one of the student leads for, alongside Julio. And we're making a 12-foot tall rocket, a solid propellant rocket, which we were hoping to send 10,000 feet up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 10,000, is that outside of what is it called?
The stratosphere? No.
The stratosphere? No.
It's still within it, but.
Oh yeah, 10,000, that's where
Yeah, 10,000 feet.
Yes.
It's even below
people
that.
jump from.
Yes, it's
Okay.
like where you have the low altitude planes at, right?
Mhm.
So that's still, and the success is in being accurate with that number, not going above that number. The more closer we are to 10,000 feet with our rocket, the more successful we ended up being.
Oh,
with our
because
rocket.
that means that you guys can
We're
manipulate
accurate.
and are accurate with the launch,
So being at 10,000,
controlling the rocket.
there you go. That shows how accurate this group of individuals were to make a rocket that can exactly achieve what we wanted. So now this rocket team I'm putting in a lot of effort alongside the other members and the leads for this. We have secured sponsorships from companies here to go ahead and get this thing going and off the ground. We meet every other week, sometimes every week. I have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
So this just happens
Sunday.
to be this just happens to be one of those things where I get to show skills and apply skills that you don't learn in a classroom.
Do you guys do tests also with maybe smaller rockets or stuff like that?
Yes. So that's what we're about to do. Before we make our big rocket, we're making what we call a level 1 rocket, an L1 rocket. It's about 3 feet tall, and it goes maybe around 1,000, 2,000 feet. Right. Wow. And we will be splitting our team into our group into different teams, and everyone will build a smaller rocket from scratch. You're literally from the body frame to the nose cone, everything from scratch, just so we can, all of us can have an idea of.
It's a scale of the bigger one.
Not really scale of the exactly big one, but it's a different class of a rocket.
Okay.
So it's much smaller. It's like 3 feet tall. It has a different power motor in it, so a motor that is less powerful. But the whole idea behind this is that we can give students an experience of what it's like to do this before we do something even bigger, right? We do not expect any of the team members to know how to do something. The whole point behind that is that we have amazing mentors like Sabian from UTRGV and other people that teach us how to do these things.
Do you guys have to apply for a permit with the the FAA and stuff like that?
So when it comes to
even 1,000,
you still have to have, not with the FAA, but you still need to have approval from organizations. You still need to be aware of all the FAA requirements that come with it, right? So you do not want to be near some buildings. You cannot be in the vicinity of an airport. You have to be aware of all these things to have clearance to fly. When it comes to our bigger rocket that will eventually be launching next summer, that's when you need FAA approvals.
Yeah, 10,000 feet.
You need to make sure that they clear out the airspace. There's nothing flying in that radius. When you're launching that rocket, I think we'll have to go. I don't think we can launch that rocket here in the valley. So we'll have to go out of the valley north of Austin somewhere.
Why not? We do the big ones here.
That's true. We do the big ones here. So why not this one?
Yeah.
But the type of rocket that we're doing here, the altitude does not work out in our favor, nor does the wind patterns do. So, and then you don't have the designated space here for us to go ahead and launch that. So even with the UTRGV team, they still go at least North Valley to go ahead and launch the bigger rockets. So that's what we are eventually hoping to get to. But if I'm looking at Launchpad from afar, it's an effort to give all of our team members the opportunity of what this field is like with hands-on skills. It's only so much you can learn from textbooks and videos until you do it in real life.
One of the things, and I went to college, man, and to university here in Brownsville many years ago, and to study electronic engineering technology. It's a bachelor's degree, and we had this club, right, where we all were participating and building this go-kart as part of competitions with other universities, right? We never completed the but we learned so much because you learn about managing a club, and you have to have elected officials, and then the permits and having meetings and keeping notes. Like, you learn a lot through activities like that.
Exactly.
So, like funding and stuff like that, and dealing with other people, like a little bit of politics, right? You have to. You learn a lot through activities and clubs like this. So that's great, man.
And similar to how you're saying with the go-karting team when you were in college, that's the same ideology right now, right? If I can show my resume to someone from SpaceX and be like, hey, yeah, I'm in high school, but I'm doing all these things right now. I'm gaining
Yeah.
hands-on experience on what it's like to work with a team, what it's
Yeah.
like to collaborate, what it's like to have this sort of a dynamic.
Yeah.
It gives you an edge
Yeah.
over, other individuals who may not be seeing it this way.
Yeah. We have meetings for design of the
Yeah.
rocket and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, man, you learn a lot. Man, Ray John, it's been great.
Yeah.
Anything that you can tell us about? I mean, I know you're still in high school, man, but any plans for the future? What other organizations that you're involved here in Brownsville? Maybe someone that is listening, they can maybe volunteer to help you out with.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the major organizations that I've been a part of is STARS, specifically with the Rocket Team Launchpad.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my time is dedicated towards that. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about. So that's something that I've been up to. I'm also the chairman of the City of Brownsville's Youth Advisory Board.
Yes.
That is a board that is in charge of really connecting the youth of Brownsville to the city elected officials and the different organizations. I was literally in a meeting right before I came here,
that's
right?
great, man.
So that's something that I'm also engaged in. It's civic engagement, bringing value to the community. It's I walked into this community with no idea what it's like, but I still now have positioned myself to be able to speak about this community because I became a part of this community. I accepted this community, and reverse, the community accepted me, right?
Yeah.
So that is one of the ways that I try to learn more about the community, volunteer at different organizations. I'm in Toastmasters. That's what I met you there first, right?
Yes.
Again, that is one of the other efforts I'm making of acknowledging the fact that I need to know how to have public speaking.
But for
skills.
this youth group,
that
has to do with the city. What's the minimum age? Is there a maximum age?
So you have to be at least in high school,
Okay.
and preferably a high school junior or a senior.
Okay.
Right? The Youth Advisory Board is comprised of every high school in Brownsville. So all the ISD schools, even IDEA schools. I'm from IDEA, IDEA Brownsville. You have Harmony in there. So there are 2 members.
Can
from
anyone
each
join?
school. Yeah, anyone can join as long as they're in high school and you go to one of the BISD or the Brownsville zone schools. You can get in touch with your counselor, and our board runs from school year to school year. So around end of school year is when we elect the next individuals that will be on the board. Then you have the oath ceremony, and it's really amazing because you get to learn about the different things that are going on in the community. You get to be a part of things. You get to be a part of the individuals who could potentially introduce programs and introduce events for specifically the youth in our community, right? So that aspect of civic engagement was something that I was new to. Like, I had never dabbled in this side, right, of civic engagement and what it feels like to work with city officials and what it's actually like to present in front of the mayor and the commissioners.
Yes.
But again, when I was told about this opportunity from my counselor, I approached it with the same mindset like everything else. It's an opportunity for me to learn. It may not be something I've been
Has there
introduced
been
to.
anything with the city that has a little bit of the contribution from this youth?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do is a scholarship program that we run, and we have the city's backing to fundraise for the scholarship. Anyone can apply as long as you're a resident in Brownsville, and as long as you go to schools, elementary, middle school, or even high school. If you end up in a position where you got into a program or you got into a club which requires some sort of financial backing, you can apply for our scholarship and we will try our best to help you out, right? You can just go on the Youth Advisory Board website and you'll find a link there. Maybe you got into a chess tournament or you got into a football camp. Like last year we funded a football camp in Hawaii that a student got to go to, right? The whole idea is that we're trying to play a small role in these students who are doing amazing things all over the nation to represent Brownsville.
Yes.
Right? So
awesome,
we
man.
end up being those individuals that have to, call in on who gets how much of the money and how to allocate the funds.
Yeah. And you said that this initiative was started by Tino.
Yes, so this initiative of the Youth Advisory Board was started by Tino Villarreal, got picked up last year, was the first year, and then this year is the second year that we're doing this, and
Awesome,
hopefully
dude.
for years to come.
We need a lot of that, you
Yeah.
know, to support our youth. So
Yeah.
that's great that there's something out there, you know,
Mhm.
for the people of Brownsville.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, man, I really wish you the best, and I know you're
Thank
gonna do
you.
good, man. But I really want you to go out there and, man, kick ass, and then
Yeah.
maybe sometime you come back here to
Yeah.
Brownsville and contribute with SpaceX or any other company.
Exactly.
But I know you're gonna do good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It was-
It's always great.
Yeah, it was really
learning
fun,
from
man,
people.
and thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the podcast. We exchanged some amazing conversations and ideas. I usually don't get to do this with a lot of individuals, but the fact that we were able to do this right off the bat and be able to put this out for the viewers to enjoy,
Yeah.
I hope in the end of the day, I was able to give something to whoever's watching.
Oh,
Just
man, you
something
did.
that
You
helped
did.
them or ignited something. I don't call myself an individual that, oh, like I hope I preach to the choir. I
Yeah.
tell them something. Like, no, but I'm in no position to do that. Is I'm in similar shoes of someone who might be watching, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing I hope is that someone just picked up on something that I might have said. And if it helps them, then we just achieved the purpose of me being here today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
man. See you.